right, what's going on, everybody? How are you guys doing? What's going on? You guys ready for day two? Are you guys ready for day two? Let me go and get this little. All right, let me start over. So, thank you, Andre. Thank you, guys. Okay, now we're working. Normally, I would do a tech check, but apparently the audio wasn't working. So I was just talking to myself there for a good 2 minutes. That was a mistake, right? Because we had a long meeting this morning with Andre and a few battery folks from out of the country, and my mind's a little discombobulated right now. But I'm back. So, welcome to day number 2. Day 1 was amazing, right? So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna edit this. Day 1 was amazing. So we had Jake Hess from Solar Con, the founder of Solar Con, on yesterday, and he dropped some serious nuggets. And hopefully you guys can hear me now, right? Before I start chatting. Okay, got on. Okay, cool. So we talked about a bunch of things, and Jake dropped some serious bombs, right? He talked about learning the electrical and your adders, right? He's also talked about negotiating your red line up, right? Which is definitely different from the rest of the folks. When a lot of folks are negotiating their red line down, he talked about negotiating it up, right? And I think a lot of you guys asked for some clarification, and it made total sense after Jake explained why you should negotiate your red line up. And he also talked about investing in yourself. I honestly feel that's one big thing that if you're currently not doing now. He talked about a time machine, right? Imagine getting into a time machine and learning all these things, right? Especially when you're starting out, on how you can become a top performer quicker than trying to do it yourself, right? And investing in yourself is the key to doing so, right? And if for those of you guys that haven't booked your solar strategy call yet, make sure you do that, right? solarstrategycall.com. I'm gonna have you guys type that in really quickly. solarstrategycall.com. Somebody do me a favor and type that into chat. solarstrategycall.com. And he also gave us an equation, right? And that equation will really help you determine whether or not you need to do an MPU, right? So it's really, really useful. And also how you can use that equation to your advantage. What Jake talked about, because he knew the equation, he was able to reduce a panel, like one panel, and he avoided a whole MPU upgrade. He was able to close this deal and save the homeowner thousands of dollars, because instead of putting, for example, 24 panels, he was able to use 23 panels and avoid a whole MPU upgrade because of the calculation that he's learned, right? So a lot of nuggets were dropped in day number 1, and a whole lot more nuggets are going to drop today, right? So let me ask you guys this really quickly before we dive into it. How many of you are currently encouraging your homeowners to look into like storage and batteries? How many of you guys are encouraging your homeowners like, hey, Mr. and Mrs. Smith, take a look. I added a battery in this on this proposal. What do you guys think, right? Or are you guys discouraging the homeowner to think about putting batteries on their home because of, lead time, cost of the batteries, right? Maybe degradation, warranty. How many of you guys are discouraging homeowners versus encouraging homeowners to install a battery? Because when I first got started, well, not when I first got started, batteries weren't really too popular back then, 8 years ago when I started with Solar City. Now it's definitely more prevalent in the conversations with proposals. But for me, I've been guilty of it. I've been guilty of saying, you know what, Mr. and Mrs. Smith, you don't need to put a battery on the house, because I felt like it was a disadvantage, right? Because it was going to bump up the price. The lead time was such a long time. And unfortunately, at the time, I was making the decision for the homeowner rather than them presenting them the information and then having them decide whether or not batteries is for them, right? So we have an amazing speaker that is going to jump on here in a second. She's the sales education manager at Solar Edge, and she had an amazing presentation about a week and a half ago. And I was like, you know what? I have to have you on the boot camp, because she's gonna drop some knowledge and some bombs on you guys on how to really, educate homeowners and how to add batteries as part of an option, right, to go solar. And I want to introduce her to you, and she's going to give you guys her background really quickly. Her name is Michellespina from Solar Edge. Hold on one second. Hopefully you guys can see her. And let me ask you guys this really quickly. Can you guys see Michelle?
Can you see me and hear me?
Can you guys see her and hear her? Because I made a mistake of talking for like 2-3 minutes. You guys can hear me.
This live stream stuff is magic.
Hold on one second. Can you guys see her? I can see you. Hold on one second. I'll just turn this up.
Can you hear me, James?
I can. Awesome. I can hear you. Because yesterday we had a technical difficulty. Jake was on, and it took us like 2-3 minutes to get his audio going.
Oh, so, you can't waste his words of knowledge.
Yeah, exactly. I was like, oh, we're wasting time. Hurry up. Oh, my gosh. But, Michelle, thank you for plugging in and helping us, debunk the whole battery. Whether or not should we pitch batteries, should we not? Those graphs that you had were, mind-blowing. And you're probably going to go over some of those graphs as well. But with no further ado, I'm going to give you the stage.
Thank you so much for having me, James. I'm so excited to be here with this group. I was just like you. So I've been in solar for 12 years. I have been on the training side for 9 years in residential solar all across the country, and helped to launch batteries in a lot of different regions. But I was 100% like you. I was thinking, man, I'm not going to lead with batteries because it adds complexity. It's too expensive. And when I started leading with batteries in the home, not only did it increase my close rates, just with PV only sales and with battery sales, but it allowed me to have higher contract values, and it allowed me to differentiate against the competition. Because as we know, homeowner value and homeowner peace of mind is very important. And a lot of times, I'll ask the Facebook group, how many times do we think that we are selling with our own wallets? We're apologizing for price. What I learned is you don't have to do that. Homeowner pride is really powerful. Have that customer actually sell it for you. They can talk themselves into it. So I'm going to share my screen real quick. Let's do a quick check that the team can see my screen. James, you looking all good on that side?
There's a delay, but give it 1 second. Yes, it is. It's good.
Cool. Okay, great. So one of the very interesting graphs that I think James mentioned is this one. So there was actually a survey that went out last year. Energy Sage did a survey for all homeowners in these states. And what they found was, we always knew California, right, was the battery state. That was where people were going batteries. But as we got into the battery market, these other states became very prominent in the battery space. So if you see here, what is this graph actually tells you is that a lot of prospective clients are very interested in energy storage. But unfortunately, only about half of those are generally pitched actual energy storage. And a lot of times we're still thinking, well, it's an afterthought. We sell the value of PV, and then we say, oh, by the way, yes, we have batteries. Or we allow the homeowner to bring up batteries, and that's when we talk about it. So my challenge to this group is instead pitch a solution, pitch a battery plus solar solution from the beginning, control that conversation. And if you need to peel off the battery, that's okay, because that's how I was able to increase my close rates. I led with the battery. That's about $16,000 to $20,000 higher on the contract. If that was too rich for the homeowner, if they weren't ready for a battery, peeling that off now makes solar look like a piece of cake, right? Because you're actually peeling off half the price. So that's how you're able to increase the close rates as well as increase those battery deals. So think about that when we're going into the home of, we're actually going to be pitching the entire solution and not just PV. Oh, by the way, we have batteries. Because I have another question for this group to think about. How many times do you go into the home or you're talking to somebody online or over the phone, and we still have to talk to homeowners about the fact that if they go solar, they won't have backup power in an outage? How many times do you still run into homeowners that think if they go solar without a battery, they're going to have power during a blackout? And we have to be the ones to say, no, actually, that's a battery solution. You can have it during a blackout if you have a battery. And we're setting that expectation. So my answer to this group is, why don't we just pitch them from the beginning what they already think they're getting? Why don't we pitch them backup power from the very beginning? Because that's what they think they're getting with solar, and they can get that with a battery. So that's kind of me on my soapbox, but I want to talk about really three key things. Would be remiss to not bring up that SolarEdge has an energy hub platform that allows you to expand with homeowners' energy appetite now or later. So I know a lot of this team has seen the energy hub. That's our fully flexible inverter, allows you to add up to 3 batteries per inverter and up to 3 inverters per backup interface with the home. And we all know that backup interface, that's going to disconnect the home from the grid. That's what allows for backup power. So you can have a total of 9 batteries or 90 kilowatt hours of capacity if you really need to on a home. So this is the Energy Hub platform. It also has a smart EV charger that's fully integrated into the solar system. So we allow the homeowner to have an ecosystem of products. It's not just PV anymore. You're becoming a smart energy expert. Just a couple quick stats on the energy bank, and then we'll go over some top 3 things as we're talking about leading with batteries. So this is our energy bank. It's a 9.7 kilowatt hour battery with 100% depth of discharge. So that's usable capacity, 9.7. It can be floor or wall mounted. And the thing that really sets this apart is efficiency. So a lot of us have been selling AC coupled solutions in the market. This is a DC coupled solution, which really means one conversion of energy before we use it in the house. So you're getting the most efficient battery on the market when you're going DC coupled with SolarEdge. James and Jake mentioned main panel upgrades. Biggest pain in the butt when it comes to battery systems specifically, right? You usually need a main panel upgrade every time you need a battery. And with SolarEdge, you're avoiding main panel upgrades as well. And I'll talk about that just a little bit with our battery system because it's DC coupled. I have a couple of quick graphs on that. Lastly, I invite this entire group to download My SolarEdge. It's My SolarEdge, which is the homeowner facing app. You don't need a login at all for this. to actually see demo sites and show homeowners what it's going to look like to manage their smart energy ecosystem. So as you see, this kind of follows the homeowner through the day and allows them to see the charge and discharge of the battery as they are going throughout the day. If they have the EV charger, that's going to be plugged in as well, and they'll see how that's charging. They're going to be able to see system production and how much they're using in the house through consumption. This is all tracked through My Solar Edge. And again, this is something you as a sales rep can download on your phone. There's demo sites on there that are real sites that will allow you to show homeowners in the home what this is going to look like and get them excited. A lot of times, I also challenge this group to get the homeowner to download this on their phone at the consultation. So you can actually say, hey, Mr. Homeowner, there's demo sites on here that you can watch. Just take a look and see how it interacts throughout the night. What we have found is that actually will sell them on the battery themselves because they're seeing how it interacts. It gets them excited and they can actually see the management of their system. A couple other quick things in terms of our battery on My Solar Edge. When the homeowner's in blackout mode, they'll get a pop-up that says they're backed up. That'll let them know how much time is estimated on their battery before it fully depletes so they can conserve energy if they need to. And then weather guard. So this is a safety feature that takes all the weather satellites in the area and predicts a storm coming and will fully charge the battery before that storm hits. So this is also included in high wind, obviously hurricane type scenarios, tornadoes, fires. All of these are considered severe weather, and it will prioritize the charge of the battery so you're ready for a blackout if that happens. All right, so let's go through those top three. What is the competitive advantage of the Solar Edge Energy Bank? What are the sizing considerations for batteries? So how many of us are like, I don't sell batteries because I don't know how much it's going to back up. That's the biggest challenge with selling batteries. And then the third one, it's very important to me, is how do I overcome the pricing objection when pitching batteries? Because I think that the misconception with homeowners is, well, the solar battery must be just like my car battery, right? It's a small battery, can't be more than $1,000. It's going to back up my whole house, right? So that's what we are running into when we're walking into the house, and we got to set those expectations. James, if there's any questions or anything coming through that you want me to answer, please just interrupt. Okay, I keep going. So let's talk about competitive advantage real quick. 3 top things. Why choose Solar Edge for my battery? Number 1, 7% higher efficiency means more power for that homeowner. Now, this is a high-end investment for that homeowner. We want to give them the most efficient battery possible. We're able to back up 30% more loads in the home. So this is allowing the homeowner to put more appliances on that backup critical loads panel. And we're able to avoid more main panel upgrades. So those are the top 3, in my opinion, why I'd go Solar Edge battery. This is really easy for me to look at. I don't know if everybody's a visual person on here. I totally am. But this is what I meant when I'm talking about efficiency, DC coupled versus AC coupled. So here's our DC coupled solution. Why is it called that? All of the smart energy devices are on the DC side of the system. So, when we are thinking about the PV system, of course, direct current energy, I like to think of it as organic, free range, non-processed energy from the sun, right, is hitting those panels. Then we're converting it. We're processing it to use it in the house. DC coupled is putting all of our smart energy, our PV, on the DC side of the system. So what does this mean? Well, the PV system and the battery are working together, and they're converting at one central location, which is the inverter on the wall. This allows us to have 7% higher efficiency. When we're talking about an AC coupled solution, now I'm not going to say the names. These are the top competitors in our market. I know that you know those top competitors, so I'm not going to say it. AC coupled, PV system and battery work independently. So there are actually 3 conversions of energy before we can use that energy in the house. So this is a less efficient system, and it requires breaker space for both the PV system and the battery. So how can Solar Edge avoid main panel upgrades? The DC coupled solution allows you to put all of those loads on the back side of the inverter. So it's sharing breaker space within the main service panel with the inverter. PV system and battery are flowing through that inverter, and that's what's taking up breaker space. So I always think about it as 40 amps. 40 amps of breaker space a lot of times is when that threshold hits where you're going to need a main panel upgrade. With SolarEdge, you can actually put a PV system and up to 3 batteries on 40 amps of breaker space, which is nuts. When you're thinking about the AC coupled solution, the PV system takes up separate space as well as each battery. So you're looking at 80 to 100 amps of space if you needed 3 batteries on an AC coupled solution. So that's how we're able to avoid main panel upgrades there. All right, let's go to number 2. Sizing considerations. And I can send this out to everybody right after this if it's helpful. I always like to have a chart to kind of showcase to the homeowner, this is what we're looking at in terms of sizing. Here's the challenge. Homeowners always want guarantees, right? So homeowners are always saying, I want you to guarantee what this is going to back up and for how long. Here's the challenge. Batteries can't be guaranteed in terms of backup because there's so much variability from household to household. You can think of it as each house is a fingerprint. It's unique every single time. Why? Because the appliances they have in their house are pulling different needs, pulling different amounts of power dependent on what appliance that is, even what model and make that is. So for example, if you have a refrigerator that you just bought and it was energy efficient, it's going to be much different than a refrigerator in a home that was from the early 2000s or 90s, right? Because it's going to be more energy efficient now as opposed to the older appliances. Think about electric stoves, things like that. If it's a new electric stove, much more energy efficient. Older one, it's going to drain that battery fast. Additionally, it's going to depend on how much that homeowner is actually using that appliance during an outage. If they're microwaving for 2 minutes versus if they have a family of 4 and they're microwaving all of their dinners and it's up to 30 minutes, that's going to drain the battery differently. So all of these things factor into how much and how long they're going to have that battery. But here's the good rule of thumb. There's a thing called continuous loads. Those are the things that are going to run the entire time during a duration of an outage. This is things like refrigerator, computer, Wi-Fi. Those things are going to be running the whole time in an outage. Then intermittent loads. These are the things that you're only going to use a little bit. So think about, I'm in an outage scenario right now. I have my fridge running, but I need to turn my stove on to make some rice, right? And I need to have the lights on in the kitchen. And maybe I have a ceiling fan on. So those are all intermittent loads and they can run at the same time. But of course, we're going to turn our stove off after we're done cooking. The lights might stay on, the ceiling fan might stay on, right? So those are intermittent loads, things that we are using simultaneously, but not the entire time during an outage. So when we're thinking about one battery, always just think essential loads. This is still what homeowners want mostly. It's like, what is most uncomfortable to you in an outage? That's my biggest question for a homeowner. What was most uncomfortable for you in an outage last time? Well, I lost all my food. I didn't have any lights. I didn't have any Wi-Fi. Great. If you could have a couple more appliances to nice to have during an outage, what would those be? Well, I want the stove, maybe the microwave, and the garage door. Okay, those are essential loads. That's one battery. 2 batteries. I like to call it kind of partial home. So this is almost getting to whole home. You can get a large appliance on there. So a lot of times we're looking at well pumps, for example, is really important in some of these states. And that can be covered by a 2 battery solution. A wall unit, a window air conditioning unit, a portable AC, a portable heater, all those things, essential loads, plus those portable heater, portable AC, well pumps, 2 battery solution. Okay. And then whole home, 3 batteries. A lot of the time, if we're talking about less than a 5-ton HVAC system, you can put that on a 3 battery solution. But I like to equate it to the homeowner of, think about your cell phone battery. If you're streaming a high definition video, is that going to drain your battery faster on the battery than if you're just texting or calling on the phone? Of course. This is what's happening with a home battery as well. If you are running that air conditioning and you're not conserving energy, it's going to drain that battery faster, even if you have a 3 battery solution. So setting those expectations with the homeowner, comparing them to things that they use every day. Batteries interact the same, exactly the same, in any different scenario. So our phone, our car, our home battery, it's really the same. All right, last thing. How do I overcome the pricing objection when pitching batteries? So how many of us have pitched a battery? The homeowner says, man, that is way more expensive than I thought it was going to be. Because we're pitching it and saying, hey, it's $16,000 to $20,000. Of course, that feels like a lot. Yeah, it's a lot. So how do we overcome that? Well, first, it's understanding the homeowner's motivations. So another survey came out. This is probably not surprising to most of you, but backup power in an outage is the number one reason people go with batteries still. The second one, self-consumption, time of use markets, of course, that is a huge advantage for homeowners that are in those markets. But it's really asking the questions to be able to determine what that motivation is. So first question, we probably ask it already, what's your motivation for looking into solar? Are they going to say savings? Are they going to say peace of mind? Are they going to say power in an outage, right? That's what we're looking for. What's your current understanding of how a battery works alongside solar? So I want to know from that homeowner what they understand, if they know anybody that already has a battery, and what excites them about it. This is an interesting one that I have been pitching recently to homeowners because we don't want to sound like every other sales consultant, right? We're trying to find these unique questions. We want to be the one that is different and is more consultative. What would your ideal smart energy home include? Have them paint the picture for you. Today, what would that smart energy home look like? 5 years from now, what are you thinking? Right? And this will allow them to say, well, we're looking for electric cars. We're getting the energy efficient appliances. I want to get those things that manage your devices, the Nest, the et cetera. See what their knowledge is on smart energy. And then we want to drill down on this blackout scenario. So when was the last time you experienced a blackout? How long have past blackouts lasted? And my favorite question, what was most uncomfortable during that blackout? So I asked this instead of saying, Mr. Homeowner, you're not going to be able to back up your AC, right? Like we don't want to give all the disclaimers from the very beginning. I want to know what was most uncomfortable because that's going to paint the picture. It's going to allow them to think about it and they're going to sell themselves. If they say, well, it was hotter than heck, I need my AC, you need to set that expectation that it's 3 batteries. But again, we're not going to sell with our own wallet, right? You can sell 3 batteries if he needs the AC, but then pare down and set those expectations if it's too rich. So something to think about, and this is something we can weave into that kind of conversation we're having in the needs analysis about the blackout last time. So what was most uncomfortable in the blackout, Mr. Homeowner? Well, all the food went bad in my fridge. How much did that cost? Gosh, I'm talking to some homeowners recently. They've said the same thing, and they have lost like $300 to $500 in food. Is that what happened with you? Yeah, probably about $300 to $500. Put some price tags on the hidden costs of the outage. What about, did you have to go to a hotel? I'm hearing that some people had to go to hotels because they were out of power for 3 to 5 days. I mean, this is unfortunately a realistic thing in a lot of our states. I was out of power last year myself for 3 days. And so hotel fees, you can bring that up in terms of price. Sump pumps, what happened with flooding as a result of the sump pump not working? Did you lose any appliances? I'm hearing that there were some shorts that were happening as a result of blackouts. So there's these hidden costs of blackouts that we don't really think about. And you can actually interweave that into the needs analysis as you go. Now, the question I get a lot, especially in places like Texas, Florida, places that already have generators, right? So, hey, look, I want a generator. I don't see the need for batteries. Well, a couple of things. Now, you either have a fuel generator or you have a natural gas generator. So there's also some hidden costs of generators that you're not thinking about. Obviously, the maintenance cost on an annual basis is something that's not only a time suck, but it's also a money drainer. And with a battery, you are not maintaining anything. We're taking that clean energy from the sun. We are charging that battery every day. We're able to utilize that energy during the nighttime hours if we want. So not only is it for backup circumstances, but it can be used at night so that we're essentially our own power plant. We're not pulling from the grid. So generators, they're backup only. They're only for emergency situations. And unfortunately, I don't know if this team saw, but last year, Louisiana is a huge battery market for us right now. And because last year during Hurricane Ida, everybody that had generators were in line at the gas station and couldn't get fuel for their generator. So they had invested in generators and they couldn't even use them in emergency situations. So we want to be able to give these homeowners a backup solution that's more reliable, that has no maintenance, and frankly, is not much more expensive than getting into a generator solution. Now, if your homeowners already have generators, totally fine. They can use the generator alongside a battery solution. I like to think of the generator as a plan B, right? So plan A, solar battery, no maintenance. It allows you to generate your own energy. You can use it anytime you want, not just in backup. And then if you need a generator for a plan B situation, great. Keep your generator so that you can actually use it if you need it. Okay, my last slide. Let's talk about that price. Now we said $16,000, $20,000. That big lump sum is hard to digest. So let's talk about it in terms of a daily breakdown. So it's really a small price to pay when you actually think about how much it is. This is based on a $35,000 solar system, $16,000 battery solution. Obviously, it's going to be a little bit different market to market, but this is on a 20-year loan, not factoring in any incentives, no ITC, no state incentives. If we break that down, the increase in payment on a monthly basis is $66. And the daily cost of that battery is $2.25 a day. So if you were going into that homeowner scenario and they said, gosh, $16,000, that's a lot. Yeah, I understand, Mr. Homeowner. You mentioned to me that last time you had an outage, the most uncomfortable thing for you was you lost all the food in your fridge. Your kids were bored as heck because there was no lights, there was no internet. I want to make sure that doesn't happen again. And luckily, we're able to do this for only about $2.25 a day. So do you go to Starbucks? Do you get a coffee on a daily basis or even on a weekly basis? You're paying more for that cup of coffee than you would be paying for the peace of mind to have power in an outage for your home. Think about it as an insurance policy. It's an insurance policy on your home and on your family's peace of mind. So $2.25 a day, even for insurance, is pretty low, right? And that's not factoring in any incentives. So I would challenge this team, try it out, see if you can get it into those bite-sized pieces, $2.25 a day, not factoring in those incentives. And obviously the time to go batteries is now because of those incentives. So when we're factoring those in, we're talking about less than $2 a day. All right, I did a lot of talking. My shameless plug, last thing, if you're not sick of my voice yet, we have a Sales Elite program. I'd love this whole team to be a part of. This is interactive training sessions, similar to what this one was, that James liked so much and brought me on. Thank you, James. We're also doing kitchen table selling tools. We do a ton of giveaways, contests, raffles. We're kind of just a community. I wanted to get really in front of the sales team on the ground because that's where my heart is. And wanted to be a support for you. So This is kind of a two-way street, two-way communication. We always want to be a support for you in the field. So if you want to be connected, just throw your email address in that URL at the bottom of the screen, and we'll get you into Sales Elite. There's a monthly newsletter. You'll stay ahead of everything happening at Solar Edge. All right, James, do we have some questions? I'm ready to take them. If you just look, just even Google Solar Edge Sales Elite, you'll see it on there too. Mm-hmm. I hope we weren't just talking to ourselves the whole time, James. Mm-hmm.
Because we're using this software. I'm not sure if you guys can hear me or not. Okay. Can you guys hear me? Hopefully you guys can hear me okay now. They heard you, but for some reason they can't hear me now. But hopefully you guys can hear. Okay, better. Okay, cool. So really quick, because I think this is important. I'm gonna back up again. We're just doubling the meeting now. It's supposed to be an hour-long meeting. We're gonna be here for like 2 hours now because everything is doubling. So really quickly, because you guys can hear me, my apologies. As sales reps, we can't turn our backs as far as the conversation about batteries, right? Years ago, yeah, maybe you can be like, oh no, you don't need a battery. It's like $15,000 or whatnot, right? So you can really weasel your way out of it. But at this point in time, in 2022, it's definitely a conversation that we're having with homeowners more often. And that slide that Michelle showed you guys was really interesting to me. Can we pop that on really quickly, Michelle? Because that's really intriguing. Because I want to point out Puerto Rico, and heads up to Puerto Rico. Mm-hmm. And it may be because of the extreme weather conditions out in Puerto Rico. Maybe that's what's why their graph is so different than the other markets. In Puerto Rico, there's like over 95% of prospects. Maybe can you explain? You could probably explain this way better.
Yeah, I mean, essentially, it's pretty simple at this point. Similar to Hawaii, Puerto Rico, if you go solar, you have to have a battery. At this point, it's required for net metering or lack thereof. And so, yeah, Puerto Rico is a huge market after the last very unfortunate storm. Batteries are a requirement on homes with solar. So that one is, has happened in the last couple of years because these other ones, Florida, North Carolina, Texas, even a couple of years ago, those were states that were not interested in batteries. And there's very high challenges.
Okay, cool, awesome. Yeah, because it looks like for example, like Puerto Rico, there's a lot of folks or homeowners that are like looking into solar, interested in solar, or excuse me, batteries, and there's over 95% of that. I think it's 97, and then 95% of the actual quotes or proposals actually have batteries, versus in the other markets where a homeowner is interested about energy storage, but it's not in the proposals for whatever reason.
Yep.
And I think it's just a lack of education from all of us that, you know what, I think the main key factor, and maybe Michelle, you can kind of chime on this. The main reason, first and foremost, I think we just don't know how to pitch the battery. We don't know how to size them. We overcomplicate things. And then secondly, we're selling out of our wallets. Because at the end of the day, we give the homeowners those options, whether it's option A, solar only, or option B, solar and battery, and they can decide whether or not which options make sense for them. Um, so, um, I have a question here from someone. Is there a way they can get a copy of the PowerPoint slide? Is that something that's public? They can get access to it?
Sure. I'll send it over to you if you want to distribute.
Okay, cool. And I guess with your experience, like, what is the main reason for you? You think from what you've been hearing in the sales industry, like, how come a lot of sales reps are not pitching the battery storage option?
Well, I mean, I talk to sales reps all over the country at this point. Frankly, I think and James, you tell me if you had the same thing. I think we get into a flow as sales reps on a pitch that works for us, and we go to every home. We know what works. We know what'll close. It's hard to change our habits. And if we know what works and we're going into a house, we just keep doing it. And maybe we wake up and we think, okay, tomorrow I'm going to start pitching batteries. And we still go in, we have that same needs analysis, we have the same bill review. And because we're used to it, and so I think it's really just changing habits and practicing and trying it out a couple of times. Because I still think that sometimes we're concerned about the price and not being able to control that conversation, especially if we're going up against a competitor that doesn't have a battery on their proposal. We want to be apples to apples. My challenge to this group is don't be apples to apples. Be a smart energy expert, be a differentiator. Say, hey, that's a great PV only company that pitched you. The good news is we're a smart energy company. So what we're offering is different. Because that's when you're going to get referrals and that's when you're going to get closes. It not being just comparing the price with the competition.
Awesome. Thank you. And I think too, when a homeowner is looking into batteries, they don't necessarily know the details of it. They don't know how much it costs. And I think their expectations are just over the top, meaning that, when they're looking into like battery storage, they're like, I want to keep like every single appliance on, right? I got like 10 AC condensers outside. I want to keep those on. I work in the shop and I weld all day. I want to keep that on as well, right? So go ahead and put that into the quote and show it to me. And I think a lot of consulting gets discouraged. First and foremost, they don't know how to calculate it, and I think it's fairly difficult to calculate all that load. But I think, I think maybe you can agree to this, Michelle, or add on to it. I think the easiest thing, like that graph that you showed, it's like, hey, I'm going to go ahead and add on one battery. It's going to keep your essentials on, like your refrigerator, a couple light bulbs. Is that cool? I like to just say that because once you show them that one option with a battery, obviously it's going to be $14,000+, and Michelle already told you guys how to pitch that, right? Once you show them that one option, they may just say, hey, you know what? I want to add more, or they may just talk themselves out of it. But at least we're giving them the opportunity to, educate them on what their options are, because I think that comes again with selling within our wallet or not knowing how to design the batteries. But I think we all just need to keep it simple. Give them one option first. I love that slide deck that you showed. Hopefully everybody took a snapshot of that. I'll get the PowerPoint slides from Michelle and I'll share it with you guys. It's like, how many batteries do we need to turn on certain or keep certain essentials on? But always, for me, I always tell our students, start with one, right?
Yeah.
And work from there. Is that something that you guys also encourage, Michelle, over there at Silver Edge?
Yeah, I mean, I think the vast majority of homeowners just want 1 to 2 batteries. We are seeing two battery sales be more prevalent than they were before. So if you're comfortable in leading with two and saying, you'll be able to back up a portable AC heater or a well pump, I think that's easy enough. We have not seen many. I mean, we have a couple 7, 8 battery systems right now in Palm Springs, which is insane. But I agree with you. I'd stick with the easy and to start, like go one, go two, and then just try that out.
Awesome. And I think as well, just to let you guys know that a homeowner is expecting the bill to go up a little bit, especially when you're talking about more like, I don't want to say a luxury, but a battery is somewhat, it's a peace of mind. It's a luxury for some homeowners, right? Especially when you don't have extreme weather condition, it may become a luxury. Some may be a necessity. But I honestly feel that in our minds, first and foremost, again, I'm going to go back to this. We think it's too expensive. We're selling with our own wallet. And at the end of the day, I honestly feel on the other side of that coffee table, the homeowner is actually expecting the bill to go up a little bit. It's kind of like what Jake's explanation was yesterday, right? Because he just bought a Jeep, those Wrangler Rubicons, right? So there's different options, right? He said there was one for $40,000, and he picked one up for $70,000 because it had all the additional bells and whistles. And I'm pretty sure Jake didn't just assume that this truck over here that had $70,000 worth of equipment wasn't going to cost more than the $40,000 one. So I think it's just a little more education on our end, how to keep it super simple, how to pitch the battery, and just joining these trainings, what Michelle has out there in Solar Edge, and just staying connected, because again, we cannot turn away from the conversation about batteries. It's going to happen. It's going to happen more often. And if you're not selling batteries right now in all of your deals, you're going to be a world of hurt in the next few months or next year or two. With other folks that's adding, it's actually what Michelle's saying. I like that. Instead of thinking about it as disadvantage, like, oh my God, I got to sell this battery, it's like 15 grand, right? I think it's a positive thing. And if you make it a positive thing, that this is what separates your company from everybody else, because we have this Solar Edge battery, I honestly feel you'll stand out. And then from there, if they don't want the battery, then go apples to apples from there, right? If they don't want the battery. But I honestly feel it's definitely something you could add on your arsenal to separate yourself from the competition.
Totally agree. Yep. Just build the habit, just build it, build the solution for the homeowner, and lead with the battery every time if we can.
Awesome. And I'm gonna go to the chat real quick. Michelle, is that cool? Can you answer these? The world is heading in a bad direction. I believe battery backup is incredibly important for Frank. I was taught, so this is from Peter, right? I was taught to sell against batteries because of the cost, length to approved, and availability to get them. But now more companies are in the game, so a lot more stock and options. So are the battery lead time for Solar Edge, is it fairly quick, or is it like other competitors where it's taking forever to get? What is the lead time on that? If you can have that information.
Yeah, so Solar Edge with our battery actually acquired a battery manufacturer that was in the top 5 global battery leaders already. Their name is Kokum. We own them now. We have a 2 gigawatt hour battery manufacturing plant that manufactures 20,000 batteries every year to send over to us. And when we launched this battery, we actually we were able to allocate the batteries to our customers to ensure that we had availability for them, so that when you sold them, they would be ready at time of install. We were very thoughtful about that because, was it Frank? I mean, he's totally right. Like, you had to sell against batteries because they weren't available. And then you sold a battery and then you weren't getting paid on that installation for 6 months. In 2020, that's what was happening. That is not the case anymore, especially with Solar Edge. We allocated batteries specifically to customers to make sure that if they were a Solar Edge battery customer, they had inventory.
Awesome. And as far as the Solar Edge, and this is another question, like, does Solar Edge offer like an inverter and a battery combination, or is it like two separate like units or whatnot?
It is two separate units because it's DC coupled. So it is the energy hub inverter, and the battery would be separate, but you can stack up to 3 batteries on one inverter,
Uh,
as well as the EV charger and those other smart energy devices.
and one thing that I caught under your last presentation was the discharge. Like you guys had like unlimited discharge or something. Like is that correct? Versus
Yeah. So as a part of the warranty, something that is differentiating with us is you can cycle it as many times as you want. So it's unlimited. When you look at the warranties of a lot of batteries on the market, you'll have a limit to the amount of charging and discharging that homeowner can do to stay within the warranty. In a time of use market specifically, that homeowner wants to be able to charge and discharge that battery sometimes twice a day if they need to. And with our warranty, you have unlimited ability to cycle that battery within staying still within the warranty.
awesome. What is the warranty again, Michelle?
It's 10 years at 70% retention. So that is a general one you're going to see on the market quite a bit. 10 years, after 10 years, 70% capacity retention. And the differentiator with us is unlimited cycles.
Gotcha. And just out of curiosity, like, there is a 10-year warranty. It's just like panels, right? We have a 25-year warranty, but it doesn't necessarily mean after 25 years, all these panels are just going to, disintegrate or whatnot.
Right.
Do you guys have any statistics on like after, 10 years, there's a 70% capacity, but how long can these batteries run, even on a 50% capacity or any capacity? Do you guys have any statistics on that after the 10?
Yeah, it's a really good question. I mean, we guarantee 70% after 10 years. And to your point, they're going to last much longer than that. But if you think, that would mean, after 20 years, it would be essentially at 30% retention type thing. It's really about the efficiency of the battery and how much capacity that homeowner actually needs within the battery. So it will last, at least 5 to 10 years after that. It's just about how much capacity is still remaining. So we guarantee that there's 70% after 10 years.
Gotcha. And as far as like, would it last longer if it was outside or inside versus if it was outside the house because of the weather conditions, or does that even matter?
Yeah, I mean, the weather does impact it a little bit. I mean, there is a temperature rating. So if you are installing the battery, it has to be within 0 degrees and 107 degrees ambient temperature in the environment within 95% of the warranty period. So you can be outside of either 0 to 106 about 18 days a year and still be under warranty. And because of that temperature rating, that's what we're warrantying. And that is, it's not going to degrade if you're within that frame. Generally, people will put it in their garage. That's still the most convenient spot for most people. And it will last longer, if it's not under a bunch of extreme conditions.
Awesome. And I got one more question. I'll jump back in there really quickly if they have any more questions in the group. As far as like third-party warranty, I know there's other third-party warranty that would warranty like inverters and modules for a longer period of time. Are there any third-party that you guys are working with to warranty the batteries even longer? Because we have this conversations a lot where, I don't want to say a lot, but it comes up when they're like, well, those are, you're going to warranty my panels and my modules for 30 years with this extended warranty. How come if I get this battery, then I only get like 10 years or whatnot? Are you guys any like third-party warranty companies?
That's a good question. We are working with some, so keep an eye out. Currently, right now, we don't have we don't have the extended warranty piece, but we are working to be on the Sonova AVL, which would be an extension, and there may be a couple more coming out as well. So just keep an eye out.
How many more years is Sonova? Is it 25 years with Sonova?
I believe so. I believe it's 25 on their loan and their lease product.
I gotcha. You guys aren't with like Solar Insure with these guys?
Yeah, not Solar Insure yet.
Okay, cool. Awesome. Well, Michelle, let me go back here. These guys having their own conversation here about selling selling the battery. So in a good way.
That's good. Yeah, definitely to get the conversation going.
Absolutely. And I know you're having, do you have these meetings or this training like every so often? Like, how can they get a hold of you? I know there's a link that we shared earlier. Make sure you guys get on that list as well. Is there any other, ways to follow up with you or communicate with you?
Yeah, definitely. So, one, we do Coffee is for Closers is a monthly series. It's all about Energy Bank. It's really just all about batteries. It doesn't even have to be about Energy Bank. It's kind of the same structure as this today, where we go over the top 3 topics. And that's every single month. If you're a part of the newsletter, you'll get an update on when those are coming in. And I do have an email that I like to call the sales bat signal, and it's saleselite@solaredge.com. Now, I have a team of people that's on that email distribution list specifically because we want to be able to get back to sales reps really quickly. A lot of sales reps will email that, I call it the bat signal, even when they're in the house. And it'll be something like really quick subject of, have an energy hub. Can I add an energy bank? Like those types of things. Any questions that come up around SolarEdge, even if you're in the house, our goal is to get back to you through that email address very quickly, because we know that you need it in a very timely manner. So feel free to always email that if you have any questions on SolarEdge or if you need any additional training. We do have Edge Academy, which is our training platform as well. If you put your email address in that link I sent earlier, you'll be in Edge Academy too.
Awesome. What's Edge Academy? What does that consist of?
Those are really online training certifications. So we have sales certifications and technical certifications for both Energy Bank, Energy Hub, and our EV charger. So those are sales certifications that are online, self-paced modules, about an hour each. Will really get you up to date on our products.
That's awesome. Do they get actual certification when they get done?
Yeah, you get a certificate. Yep.
That's all. I'm gonna join that. So it's just another arsenal, right? Because a lot of folks don't know how to sell the battery side of things. And I honestly feel, not only are you guys like solar experts, it's time to be also a storage expert as well, not just I might have to coin that one. Not only a solar expert, also be a storage expert to really stand out from the rest, right? Yeah. And the key takeaway for me personally, I mean, there's a lot of things. Is what I always see in the sales side is stop selling from your wallet. Give the homeowners all their options. Be educated first and foremost of what the options are, and then give them the best options, because at the end of the day, we're making $5, $10 plus $1,000, right? Hopefully there's no homeowners in here. We're making amazing commissions. So become the expert, not only in solar, become an expert in the storage. Make sure you guys get on the list with Michelle. Follow SolarEdge. Obviously, there's other battery options out there as well. Know them all, so at least you can compare which is the best option for your homeowner, because you guys are experts, right? Because there may be another product that may be best for a homeowner, and maybe this SolarEdge product may be the one, or maybe not. But again, you have to educate yourself and know which ones are the best for your homeowner. Other than that, Michelle, thank you for spending your time with us and educating us. I love plugging into any webinars you guys would have. For me, I just want to educate myself and just be updated in any news or whatnot with storage. So thank you for spending some time with us.
This was great, James. Thanks so much. Good luck, everybody, in the boot camp for the rest of the days. This is great that you're educating the solar team. We all need it.
We all need it. Thanks, Michelle. Have a good one. Thank you.
You too. Bye.
All right, guys and gal. I'm going to go back into 1 second. All right. All right, everybody. What do you guys think, right? So it's time to really educate ourselves as far as, battery storage, right? We can't turn away from it anymore, right? It's happening. It's just going to get even more relevant as the years go by. So in closing, really quickly, first and foremost, I want to ask you guys, what was your main takeaway there? What was your main takeaway? Just write in the comment. What was your main takeaway with Michelle's presentation? Right? There's probably a bunch of them, but what's on top of that list? What was your main takeaway? I'm just kind of curious to see. Solar storage equals solar range. What was your main takeaway, guys? Peter's James Ramos rules, best solar trainer in the game. Yeah, let's go, Peter. Send me your Venmo. To start for Stella, to start with the battery instead of trying to sneak it at the end of the pitch. Batteries are insurance for power from Renee Stevens. Absolutely. What else you guys got? What else other takeaways you guys got? And I really want you guys to engage, right? Engage and participate. So that leads me to the next thing before we close everything out is make sure that you guys take massive action. And I want to tilt my hat and give some shout outs to the folks that did the homework yesterday, right? It's not too late to do the homework, right? And I honestly feel that in 2022 and beyond, you have to leverage videos to your advantage, right? You have to leverage videos to become the expert in the homeowner's eyes. And if you guys aren't doing so already, you guys have to get on that bandwagon, right? On how to leverage videos. And that's what we're going to be talking about in the next couple of days as well. We have a bunch more speakers. Mr. Andre Voda is going to talk about lead management and things of that nature. But I want to give a shout out to Renee Stevens, Roland Lynn, and Theo Rosenberg for posting the video yesterday, right? These guys went ahead and posted live, and they gave, or they made a video, and they went over what they learned yesterday, right? They shared with us what they learned yesterday. So today, it's going to be the same thing. I really want to encourage you guys to use videos, right? Use videos to your advantage. Let me give you guys some statistic really quickly. If a homeowner watches at least 3 to 4 year videos, in the homeowner's eyes, you become the expert, right? You become the expert. So the question that I want to throw out there to you guys is, what are you doing? What kind of videos are you creating and getting in front of your homeowners so you can become the expert? Because what happens is when we have a consultation, for example, let's say today's Tuesday and the consultation is on Thursday, the in-between time from setting the appointment to consultation is what I call a dead time, right? So there's nothing going on there. So the idea is to send videos out to your homeowners, right? Because you're strategically planning this to position yourself as an expert. Because again, when you can get 3 to 4 videos in front of your homeowner talking about, modules, maybe talking about batteries, going over your background to build the know, like, and trust, what Jake talked about yesterday, right? Because we buy from people that we know, like, and trust. So if you can get the homeowner to know, like, and trust you before your consultation, you're going to have a higher probability of closing this deal. Hopefully that makes sense, everybody, right? You guys are here to learn things that nobody's doing out in the field. So I encourage you to leverage videos, right? So the homework today, right? The homework today is I want you guys to create a video. And this is literally can be like 15 to 30 seconds. It doesn't have to be perfect. You don't need a camera. Just use your camera on your phone. You don't need a fancy, gizmos and gadget. I want you guys to make a video introducing yourself, how long you've been in the industry. If you've been in the industry for over a year, talk about your family, and more importantly, why did you get started in solar, right? So introduce yourself, how long you've been in the industry. If you've been in the industry less than a year, just go over why did you get started in solar, right? I'm really curious to know, like, why you guys got started in solar, right? And do me a favor, the only thing you got to do is go in the group, press the little live button, and record a quick video, right? It does not have to be perfect, because I'm going to help you over the next couple of days create some videos, and we're going to put that into a machine where you guys can walk away with something tangible at the end of the boot camp, right? I want you guys to walk away with something tangible that you guys are going to implement and use after Friday, right? So I want you guys to create that video, but I just want you guys to get in momentum. You guys know about momentum, right? So when you guys are selling and closing deals, once you get one deal under your belt, you know, in one day, you get the momentum to speak to the next homeowner, and then maybe you close the second one, and then the third one, and you get a hat trick or whatnot, right? You want to build off the momentum. So what I wanted to do is I want you guys to start creating this video, start engaging to create momentum, because we are going to implement something at the end of the boot camp on Friday, again, so you guys can walk away with something tangible. Does that make sense, everybody? All right. Because you guys may or may not know, right? The money is going to come in the follow-up, right? And let me back it up a little bit more. The wealth is going to come in the follow-up. And if you guys don't have a system to follow up with your homeowners, and you're not using a CRM, or if you're not using a system, then you guys need one, right? You guys need one. So we do have our CRM. Andre's going to talk about it. It's called Solar Pipeline, right? So you guys, if you guys want to look into that, solarpipeline.com. Andre's going to be speaking here in a couple days. He's going to go over how to manage your leads using a CRM. And just a heads up, everybody, you guys are making big money, right? $5,000, $10,000, $15,000 a deal. You have to not only invest in yourself, invest in systems and softwares that's going to help you close more deals, right? There is a cost to doing business. So again, for those of you that aren't using like a CRM, if you guys aren't investing in yourself, start doing so, right? So as far as the CRM wise, book a call with Andre. I'm not sure, Andre, if he's still watching here, he could probably post a link, a calendar link where he can show you a demo on how everything works, right? Because we already built it out for you. All the emails, the text messages, all of that is already built out for you. It's literally a plug and play for you, right? And we help you create all the videos to really position yourself as an expert. Because as you may or may not know, right, we need to all look around. Like in our neighborhood, the people that we're talking to, there's so many more people getting into solar. There's so many, right? Which is great. It's friendly competition. There's enough to go around for everybody. But you need to separate yourself from everybody else. And the way you do that is via videos, right? I've been creating videos for years now, right? And there's so many videos. We have so many people jumping on our solar strategy calls. And we're there helping them every single day, jumping on the calls with them. And we leverage videos to get our phones to ring, right? So I honestly feel if you're not using videos right now, you have to start leveraging videos. And again, really quickly, before we end, if you haven't booked your solar strategy call yet, make sure you do that, solarstrategycall.com. Do me a favor, can you guys type that in the chat? solarstrategycall.com, and I noticed that Andre just posted his calendar there. Solarstrategycall.com. We're here to help, right? We're here to help every step of the way. And you guys already heard it from Jake yesterday, right? Invest in yourself. Invest in that time machine, right? Other than that, that's all I have for today. We have some amazing speakers still for the rest of the week. I'm going to jump on as well. I don't know how, it's hard to follow up with these guys, right? Because these, we had some amazing speakers over the last, 2 days, and we have more coming. Other than that, you guys have an amazing day. Make sure you book your guys' call, solarstrategycall.com, solarstrategycall.com. Thanks, Renee, for posting that. Other than that, you guys have an amazing day. Goodbye for now. Peace out, everybody.